Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hey, in this week's episode, I'm going to be installing a Hepco Becker engine guard on Sumo, my KTM 790 Adventure R. Let's take a look at what comes in the packaging. Well, the kit comes with a left and right engine guard, these mounting brackets, and a whole passel of screws and spacers, of which I'm going to have to sort out and figure out how that all works out. The first thing you have to do is remove the side cover here to the gas tank, the scuff resistant cover, and that is so that you can access this bolt right here that mounts the bracket up. And these brackets are asymmetrical, so you have to make sure that you have the right bracket. There is a left and right bracket. The trickiest part of getting the guard on here is getting this bracket mounted up here behind the cover and right here. You have to remove a screw up there, and this one did not have a screw in it. It was just there intended to be a mounting bracket for later on. Once you have this bracket installed, you then go back and put this plastic cover back on that protects the gas tank, and then it's really simple from there on out. You have to remove the screw up here that helps mount this bracket up in here, and you have to remove the screws on the front by the engine guard, and then it's just a matter of putting in these two screws, this screw here, and then putting in two screws right here, and it just becomes a pretty easy installation. The screws that are originally in there have to come out, and you use the supplied screws for the additional length. The only thing tricky about this whole installation is because it's not symmetrical from one side of the bike to the other side of the bike. You have to make sure you have the right length screws, and you have to make sure you have the right length and correct spacers. And because it's all in metric, if you're not familiar with metric, they don't do a conversion on the instructions. They do have English instructions, the originals in German, I believe, and the instructions just provide you with the metric measurements. Luckily, I'm familiar enough with metric that it wasn't much of an issue, and I could easily check to make sure that I had the right pieces. That's the tricky part about this installation. Now I have to repeat this process on the other side of the bike. Once again, getting this bracket on this front screw, which is tucked up underneath here pretty good, is pretty hard to access. You didn't have to remove any screws. The hole existed right from the get-go. So obviously the KTM engineers were planning for this to be able to mount this on here. But getting that screw in was a little bit tricky. So I had to use the hex bit along with a 1/4 inch wrench to get back in there to tighten that up. I couldn't get a regular socket to fit back in there. It's just too tight and there's hoses in the way. And without removing a bunch of stuff, it was just easier to do it that way. The next thing is to reinstall the plastic guard for the gas tank, and then I'll actually be able to put the engine guard on. Well, the left side guard was warped ever so slightly, probably when it was welded up, and the screw holes just didn't quite match up. They were close, but off just a little bit. So it required me to put it in the vise and get on it with the persuader a little bit, and then it went right in. I just had to get it, but I'm here to tell you that whatever steel they used in that stuff is tough. It was hard to get it even just the fraction of an inch that I needed to get the bolts in. As far as difficulty goes on this job, it took me all afternoon, probably 2.5 hours, I suppose, to do this job. So If you're a beer drinking guy, it's a 2 to 3 beer job. But it's on and it looks nice, and it definitely will help protect the engine. Well, I hoped you liked this video today on the installation of the engine guard. If you did, please give it the big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, take care.